Hi everybody, Assalamualaikum. So, how are you today? I hope everybody is doing okay. We are still facing the pandemic, so please stay at home. That is how you guys can help solve the problem. That is how you guys can help fight the war. Before we proceed with today's lesson, I would like to ask you one important thing. Now, have you watched the previous video? You have not? In order for you to understand today's lesson, you have to watch the previous one. Okay? So promise me this. Watch the previous lesson, then only you can proceed with today's lesson. Okay? Pinky promise? So, are you ready for today's lesson? Okay, wonderful. Let's proceed. Hey guys, so you've promised me that you watched the previous lesson, right? Now, if you have watched the previous lesson, you should know the answer for my question. Before we proceed, this is my question. What are the two things that I have taught you in the previous lesson? First, we've learned about correct modal verbs. Do you think you are able to recall all the 12 modal verbs? Okay, I will check this later. Now, for the second part of the previous lesson, we also learned about correct, the strategy to do section A, directed writing, SPM, English, paper. Wonderful. Now, as for today's lesson, I will still be doing the same thing, which is I will be doing section A, directed writing, using the same strategy, but I will explain further why do I use modal verb in my strategy. Okay, are you ready? Alright, now for today's lesson, there are going to be two parts of the lesson. First, I will tell you what the 12 modal verbs are. Even though we have learned this in the previous lesson, I believe some of you might not remember it well. So we are going to do that again today. Now for the second part, I will explain to you why do we have to use modal verbs in the writing. So are you ready? Wonderful. Alright, so for the first part of the lesson for today, we are going to do a recap on what the 12 modal verbs are. Okay? So, 12 modal verbs. We have 3M. Okay? 3, 2. 2S. 2C. And 2W. Can you recall what they are? 3M. Must, may, and might. 3-2. Ought to, have to, and need to. 2S. Shall and should. 2C. Can and could. Can and could. 2W. will, and would. Okay? So please remember all 12 modal verbs. Must, may, might, ought to, have to, need to, shall, should, can, could, will, and would. Alright, now let us proceed to the second part of the lesson. Now alright students, before I tell you why we need to use modal verb in our directed writing, let me explain to you what modal verbs are. Modal verbs are a type of auxiliary, or better known as a helping verb. A modal verb is used to express ability. For example, can. I can climb a tree. Can. Possibility. For example, could. You could be right. So there's a possibility. You could be right. Permission. For example, may. You may go. Permission. Last is obligation. For example, should. You should stay at home. Should. Obligation. Alright? Now since you know what modal verbs are and the functions, next I will tell you why do we need to use modal verb in our directed writing. Alright? Ready? Now let's take a look at this example. Stay at home during restriction movement order, RMO. Stay at home during restriction movement order. Now if you look at the point, you know that it is a sort of obligation. Obligation, something that you have to do. Now, during our last lesson, I told you that for every point you have to underline the first word. Let us underline the first word. Stay. So the word stay is a verb. Alright? It is a verb. Therefore, you only have to add two words in front of the word stay. One of the words would be your modal verbs. So what is the best modal verb that we can use? Should. Should shows obligation. There you go. Should. Now, the question is, who should stay at home during restriction movement order? You can use everybody. Now, why do we need to have modal verbs? Why do we need to have a modal verb in our writing? Very simple. If you look at the verb given in a point, usually the verb is a base word. For example here, the word is stay. So this is a root word without any inflections. It doesn't have ing, it doesn't have s, and it doesn't have ed. Therefore, if we put a modal verb, for example should, if we put a modal verb, for example should, in front of the word stay, it makes the sentence correct, grammatically correct. Without it, your sentence might be wrong. Imagine that we don't have the modal verb should in the sentence. What do you think will happen to the sentence? Let's give it a try. Everybody stay at home during restriction movement order. Does it sound correct? Let me write it down. Dot, dot, dot. Alright. Now, take a look at this sentence. Everybody stay at home during restriction movement order. Do you think the sentence is correct? It sounds correct, but it is not. Why? Because after the word everybody, which is singular, the verb should be in a singular form. So the verb stay in a singular form is stays. It should be changed to stays. If it is not changed to stays, then the sentence is incorrect. Thus, that is why we need to have our modal verb. Because after a modal verb, the verb after a modal verb should be in its original form, in the root word form. For example, everybody should stay at home during restriction movement order. So we don't have to change the verb because we have the modal verb to make sure that the sentence is correct. Okay? Are you okay with that? Wonderful. Okay, now let's take a look at the second example. Avoid going to crowded places. Avoid going to crowded places. So first, you have to underline the first word. Is there a verb? Yes, it is a verb. Since it is a verb, then you have to put two words in front or before the verb. One, two. The second one should be your modal verb. Okay, let's put should. Because this is also an obligation, something that you have to do. Now, the question is, who should avoid going to crowded places? Everybody. All right. Everybody. Again, let's take a look at this particular sentence. Why do we have to put the modal verb there? Without the modal verb, the sentence will be incorrect because everybody, without the modal verb, it will become everybody avoid going to crowded places. Everybody avoid going to crowded places. The sentence is incorrect because after the word everybody, which is a singular subject, you have to use singular verb form, which is everybody avoids going to crowded places. Everybody avoids going to crowded places. Now, as most of the points are in the original form or in the base word or in the root word, it is advisable for you to use modal verbs in your sentence to make sure that the sentence is correct. Okay? So remember that. Use a modal verb in your directed writing. Wonderful. There you go, guys. So today we have recapped what modal verbs are, the 12 modal verbs. And then I have explained to you why we should use modal verbs in our directed writing. I hope today's lesson will help you to understand English better. Until next time, don't forget to follow and to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Before you go, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share with your friends, okay? Until next time, bye!